It's October 10th, 1963. On the French Riviera, a famous singer is taking her last breath. When Édith Piaf is buried 4 days later in the Père Lachaise cemetery in Paris, traffic in the city comes to a standstill. The last time something like this happened was at the end of World War II. Because of her eccentric lifestyle and her divorce, Piaf had been denied a Catholic Requiem Mass by Cardinal Maurice Felton. Nevertheless, a procession of thousands of admirers follows the coffin to its final resting place to bid farewell, at least symbolically, to a woman who, against all odds, managed to dig herself out of absolute poverty to the very top and change the face of French chanson once and for all. Édith did not have a happy childhood. She was born on December 19th, 1915, during World War I. Her father, a street acrobat, enlisted in the army, and her mother left to pursue her dream of becoming a singer. So the girl was raised by her grandmother, who ran a brothel in Normandy. The prostitutes there took excellent care of little Édith, especially between the ages of 3 and 7, when she temporarily lost her sight due to keratitis. Édith eventually recovered. When she was 14, her father took her with him to Paris. He performed circus acts in the street, and Édith sang. Her father's acts never impressed the passers-by, but as soon as his daughter started singing, the francs started jingling under their feet. Édith soon realizes her talent, and when she meets Simone Berthaud at 15, and a lot changes for her. A lifelong friendship develops. She leaves her father and begins to sing with her new friend, whom she calls Momone. She may be considerably less talented than her, but Édith sings for both of them. Her strong voice and coy face are guaranteed to work on people with wallets and men in general. At 16, she falls in love with Louis Dupont and gives birth to their daughter, Marcel. She tries working in a factory, but the hours are long, so she returns to singing, breaks up with her boyfriend, and often leaves the baby home alone. Just like her mother, raising her child is not a priority. Louis eventually takes little Marcel with him, but she dies of meningitis at the age of 2. Although Édith wasn't a great mother, her daughter's death affected her deeply. Her first career breakthrough comes in the year 1935 when she is noticed by Louis Leplay, a nightclub owner. He immediately realizes Édith's potential and decides to turn her into a true artist. He dresses her in the now iconic black dress and decides that her maiden name, Édith Gassion, doesn't sound right. So he invents a new name, La Môme Piaf, for the petite girl with a worried expression, which in local slang means the Little Sparrow. But more than a sparrow, Édith resembles a nightingale. Her performances are a success, and composer Marguerite Monod writes original songs for her. But the climb up the ladder is not as easy as it seems. When her patron Leplay is murdered on April 1st, 1936, Édith is a suspect. Eventually, the investigators conclude that the cabaret singer had nothing to do with his death, and that the mafia was probably to blame. In the following years, when France is occupied by Hitler's Germany, Édith continues to perform and becomes a favorite of German soldiers and Gestapo officers. She is even accused of collaborating with the Nazis, but she is not found guilty. Her career continues with a successful European tour, and after that, it's time to conquer the United States. The American audience is initially uninterested in her performance. When Americans buy tickets to see the French chansonnier, they expect a show straight out of a Moulin Rouge cabaret. But instead of a defiant, writhing singer, they see a tiny woman in black who stands riveted to the microphone throughout the performance. But one positive review in a respected newspaper changes everything. The Americans gradually grow to like Edith, and when she sings her hit La Vie en Rose in English, they finally understand the real emotion behind her songs. Music and men were Edith's purpose in life. Although she was never short of lovers, she had to wait until 1948 to find true love. That's when she met the middleweight boxing champion Marcel Cerdan in the United States. The handsome Frenchman, originally from Algeria, was the complete opposite of the petite, bossy, and explosive singer. He was discreet and responsible, but married with 3 children. Yet he fell madly in love with Edith. She hated boxing, but she attended his fights. And he never missed one of her concerts. But the divorce from his wife, that he promised to Edith, never happened. In October 1949, Cerdan bought a boat ticket to New York so that he could spend some time with Edith. But she called him and told him she couldn't wait that long, that he'd better come by plane. So the 33-year-old boxer boarded an Air France flight that evening. In the morning, Edith received the terrible news. The plane had crashed into Mount Redondo. No one on board survived the crash. The death of Marcel Cerdan marks the end of perhaps the only happy phase of Edith's life. She would have many more lovers, but she would never truly be in love again. After 3 car accidents, she becomes addicted to morphine and alcohol. The many drugs she takes for arthritis and insomnia only worsen her terrible health. She may only be 40 years old, but she looks like an old lady. Yet she continues to perform around the world, and she hasn't given up on love. In 1952, she marries singer Jacques Pils, but the marriage ends in divorce. She later marries Theo Sarapo, who is 20 years younger than her. Edith didn't look too good, and Theo looks more like her son than her husband. After a stomach ulcer operation, she weighs only 30 kilos but wants to continue singing. In the 50s and 60s, she has a series of concerts at the Olympia Concert Hall in Paris. Journalists wait under the stage to see if Edith will collapse, but she has another surprise in store for them, one of her greatest songs. Although Edith initially refused to listen to Charles Dumont's song, he was not to be deterred and got the chance to play his tune for her, with lyrics by Michel Vauquer. He thought that the First Lady of French chanson might like the song, and he was right. Then, when Edith sings her Je ne regrette rien, or I regret nothing, to a sold-out Olympia, it is clear to all that this is more than just a song. It is her confession. Everyone senses that the singer is at the end of her life journey, during which she has become the queen of chanson, one of the biggest stars France has ever had.